Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everyone. My name is Sunan Najwa Isati Bint Abdul Rahman and I'm going to be explaining about conceptualizing the inclusive impact of international firms in Malaysia. So the first one is shift from quantity to quality in global growth. The first one is the traditional paradigm. Historically, multinational corporations have been celebrated as core economic engines driving capital investment, trade diversification, and GDP growth. Second one is the global challenge. Relying solely on conventional macroeconomic metrics provides an incomplete picture of national progress. The contemporary global economy has shifted focus from mere economic expansion to qualitative growth dynamics. The third one is the risk of unequal growth. Foreign-funded GDP growth does not guarantee fair wealth distribution, environmental sustainability, or local tech empowerment. Instead, it deepens income gaps, worsens urban-rural divides, and accelerates ecological damage. The last one is the Malaysian context. Frameworks like the modern-day economy and NIPP 2030 should focus beyond raw GDP growth, mandating that industrial advancements actively drive socio-economic inclusivity and net zero targets. Moving on to problem statement. First one is the disconnect. A significant disconnect persists between high-level macroeconomic indicators and actual inclusive development outcomes on the ground. Second one is localized enclaves. While international firms report high revenue generation and continuous technological updates, the localized spillover effects often remain concentrated within narrow industrial enclaves. The third one is SME and labor vulnerability. Local small and medium enterprises frequently struggle to absorb advanced knowledge, trapping them in low-value manufacturing. Concurrently, stagnant wage growth for local workers alongside a high dependency on low-skilled foreign labor challenges the notion of equitable social progress. The last one is SDG misalignment. Without a comprehensive structural framework, the operational mechanism of international firms risk exacerbating social inequalities and environmental pressures, misaligning with Malaysia's sustainable development goals. Moving on to the significance of the study. Addressing the research gap. Most existing literature heavily leans toward the economic and technological dimensions of FDI. There is a distinct scarcity of research that conceptualizes a holistic, multidimensional framework integrating economic, socio-technological, environmental, and institutional impacts into a single inclusive impact concept. Second one is the role of domestic. It explicitly addresses how localized institutional quality functions as a structural moderator that can either amplify or restrict the sustainable outcomes of international business operations. Moving on to overview of model components. First one is interdependent variable. International firms utilizing firm-specific advantages, advanced technological, global networks, managerial expertise, innovation capacity. Next one is mediating mechanism. The operational pipelines, knowledge transfer, innovation, supply development, and employment quality. The third one is dependent variable, multidimensional inclusive impact. For example, economic and technological, social, environmental, institutional impact. The fourth one is moderating variable, institutional quality, MITN and MEDA frameworks and efficiency. The last one is ultimate goal, Malaysia's sustainable development, aligned with NIPP 2030 and modern economy. There are four core propositions. The first one is direct relationship. The proposition is international firms utilizing the firm-specific advantages positively influence economic inclusiveness in Malaysia. Second proposition is the mediating role of spillover pathways. Proposition is knowledge transfer, innovation, and supply development significantly mediate the relationship between international firms, operations, and multidimensional inclusive impact. The third proposition is the moderating role of institutional quality. Institutional quality positively moderates the relationship between international firm activities and inclusive impacts, such that the positive impact is stronger when institutional quality is high. Proposition 4. Stakeholder engagement and sustainable outcomes. Proposition is proactive stakeholder engagement strengthens the transition of inclusive impacts into long-term national sustainable development outcomes. Moving on to theoretical contributions. Introducing the integrated inclusive impact concept. That's the first one. The traditional international business literature away from narrow quantitative macroeconomic metrics toward a holistic lens measuring qualitative externalities across five interconnected dimensions. The second one is novel tri-theoretic framework, bridges an analytical gap by successfully linking the OLI paradigm inputs, knowledge spillover theory, and stakeholder theory, like into a unified blueprint. The last one is isolating governance, nuances. Explicitly establishes institutional quality as a critical structural moderator, proving that the success of foreign corporate spillover is heavily dependent on the regulatory strength of the host country. Next is practical contributions. Implications for MITE and MEDA offers a strategic diagnostic tool to transition policy incentives away from raw capital injection amount toward inclusivity-linked incentives. For example, tax benefits tied to local supplier development, domestic wage elevation, and net zero carbon operations. The next one is implications for multinational corporations. Provides a roadmap to secure local operational legitimacy by moving past superficial CSR initiatives and embedding inclusive targets directly into core business strategies, for example, partnering with local TVET institutions. The last one is implications for local MSEs. Highlights the exact access points, vertical knowledge spillovers, and supply development programs needed for local vendors absorb advanced foreign capabilities and climb global value chains. So this is the proposed conceptual framework. We have 5 different framework, which is the first one is moderating variable, independent variable, mediating mechanism, dependent variable, and the last one is ultimate goal. So that is all for me. Thank you for watching.